on the global scene, let's start with the Ukraine and Russian war. F-16 already touched down in Ukraine, head of Ukraine's Air Force said. Lieutenant General Mayuka Oleshuk, head of Ukraine's Air Force, said that the Ukrainian pilots have experienced operating Western-made F-16 fighter jets, which have already touched down on Ukraine's airfield.
Well, the U.S. has approved a sale of 22 HIMARS missiles system, dozens of precision-guided GMLRS and GMLRS-ER projectiles with a launch range of up to 150 kilometers to Australia for $975 million US.
While Ukraine destroys 3 Russian ships, Kyiv says a more vessel flee. Ukraine destroyed 3 subversive Russian boats in the south of the war-torn country in less than a day. Kyiv's military has claimed as civilian ships are reported to be moving away from the area of the Black Sea, where Ukraine is increasingly targeting Moscow's assets.
Now, Moscow plans to settle 300,000 Russians in temporarily captured Mariupol. The invaders plan to settle 300,000 Russian citizens in Mariupol captured by the invasion army.
Well, also, the U.S. military is making plans to evacuate its drone base in Niger, but no such order is imminent, said Air Force General James Hacker, who is the commander of the U.S. Air Forces to Europe and Africa. And down to the report for tonight. Let's go to BRICS currency. In their push to dethrone the US dollar as the world's largest reserve currency, the BRICS nation, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have been chalking up the idea of a common currency for years. But Jim O'Neill, the veteran economist who coined the term BRIC, said the group did not originally include South Africa when he worked at Goldman Sachs in 2001. Well, he blasted the plan this week by saying it is just ridiculous. He says they are going to create a BRICS central bank, and he asked, how would you do that? He's asking the BRICS.
Well, the BRICS nations will meet for their 15th annual summit next week, but O'Neill, now senior advisor at UK-based think tank Chatham House, argued that the group of nations has never achieved anything since they first started meeting in 2009 amid consistent infighting. The push for de-dollarization amongst BRICS nations has heated up since the war in Ukraine began. Its crippling Western sanctions on Russia were enabled by the dollar's dominance. Meanwhile, in April, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva urged the group to develop a serious alternative to the dollar using the combined weight of their economies.
Well, why can't we do trade based on our own currencies? He said on a state trip to China in April. The Financial Times first reported that. It says, who was it that decided that the dollar was the currency after the disappearance of the gold standard? Despite the ongoing talk of de-dollarization, nearly 60% of global currency reserves were held in the US dollars in 2022, and 88% of international transactions use the dollar. According to IMF data, and Wall Street doesn't seem to be worried about serious competitor to the greenback either.
Now, Dylan Creamer, co-chief investment officer at Certuity, which manages nearly $4 billion in assets, said that the development of a common BRICS currency, quote, according to him, is just a talk track, referencing the talking points salespeople bring to client meetings. BRICS nation, when combined, according to him, lack the political stability to make investors confident in a combined currency.